Dave Chappelle has been attacked at the Hollywood Bowl. He was doing a set and a man ran up on stage armed with, some have said, a gun and a knife. I read that it was a gun that was fake, but had a knife in it. So it was actually a knife meant to look like a gun. And I think it's terrible. I'm glad that Dave's all right. Chris Rock apparently gets up and says, was that Will Smith? Tons of people are saying, thanks, Will Smith. Because Will Smith apparently has normalized striking comedians who make jokes you don't like. Now, on the surface, I'll tell you what I think. I think a crazy person attacked Dave Chappelle. But there's a question about Dave Chappelle angering certain crowds and whether or not this was a leftist attack. I'm leaning towards no, but I don't know if I should give the benefit of the doubt to people who are willing to attack other people, especially over jokes, especially when, well, Dave Chappelle has reportedly needed more security because of the threats against him after making some offensive jokes, or I should say jokes offensive to the left. Here's what I think. I think sometimes crazy people attack celebrities. You know, people ask me when we deal with security threats here at Timcast, and we've had many in these past few months. Since January, it's been nuts. But we're fine. We have armed security. I'm not going to say too much more. We have good security. We've got personal protection and things like that. But people say, I see these memes and they're like, the left is doing this and leftists are doing that. And I'm like, guys, it's not that. If I go to an Antifa rally, yeah, then, I mean, I'll be worried about the left attacking me. Yes, we do believe we have evidence pointing to the left in terms of some of the security issues we've had. But I'm not worried about strategic political attacks. I'm worried about the guy, and I said this in the past week, I'm worried about the guy who thinks that I've stolen all of the spoons and I'm hiding them on the moon, and that I have been taking Jeff Bezos's wiener rocket to the moon to store hidden spoons in a plan to take over the world, or something insane just like that. Then they show up and they're ranting about Donald Trump is going to be president and then he's going to overturn Roe v. Wade. And you're like, dude, wait, hold on. That actually happened. Okay, that would have sounded crazier a few years ago, but you get my point. Someone crazy shows up and does something crazy. So what do I think about Dave Chappelle getting attacked? I think he was attacked by somebody who was crazy. But something going on with politics, because it is reported that Dave Chappelle had to up his security because of jokes he made about the trans community. And over in the Joe Rogan subreddit, the whole debate right now is over whether or not they can talk about politics on a comedian's forum. Joe Rogan, I do not believe is political. Joe Rogan, I believe, talks about political things because political things affect everybody, and Joe's interested in cultural things. Joe Rogan is not a political person, it's cultural. So why are people saying like, hey, we want to post memes unrelated to Joe's shows on a subreddit? Because politics has taken over. The culture war has reached the highest point in our society. The federal government, high level cultural instances, issues, Dave Chappelle, Joe Rogan. The fissure is complete. The crack appeared in video games with Gamergate, and it began to spread. And many people were like, who cares? It's video games. And now it's like the presidency. Yeah. This fissure, in my opinion, means our culture is collapsing. What does that result in? I mean, if people really hate each other, then you're going to see some real crazy stuff. But let's read a little bit about what happened with Dave Chappelle and talk about this in greater detail. The story from timcast.com. Hey, if you want to support our work, head over to timcast.com and become a member so that our journalists can keep working and we can hire more. And we've got some culture jamming as marketing I've been talking about quite a bit. We're probably going to be doing a campaign every month, and it's because of you we're going to be able to do this. And it's going to be strategic marketing that will upset the establishment. We'll put it that way. Dave Chappelle attacked on stage at Hollywood Bowl just moments after the incident occurred. A fellow comedian, Chris Rock, joined Chappelle on stage and said, was that Will Smith? Now, I can't show you what happened in great detail. YouTube rules. But the man's arm is all bent and like it's seriously damaged. And our good friend, Count Dankula, now that one I mean literally, has an explanation as to why this may have happened. So we'll get into that. But I want to read you the story from NBC Los Angeles. Comedian Dave Chappelle tackled on stage during LA Festival show. The reason I want to pull up this one is because of a point they make. A man who police said was armed with a replica gun rushed a stage and tackled comedian Dave Chappelle as he was performing in LA. The Los Angeles Police Department early Wednesday confirmed the attack, saying the weapon the man was carrying can eject a knife blade. When you discharge it correctly, it is unclear if the fan made an attempt to use the weapon. The fan? Yo, fan, you don't attack the person you like. I don't know, man. Was this guy really meaning to kill or harm or seriously injure Dave Chappelle? Several videos and accounts posted online showed the man climbing onto the front of the Hollywood Bowl stage and rushing towards Chappelle. At least one video showed the comedian falling to the floor with several other people rushing to apprehend the person. What's that saying? I can't remember. But basically the idea is Dave Chappelle was attacked. Where was his security? This shows people his security can and has been breached. It's dangerous, man. I don't, a lot of people like to say at times like these, like, someone's getting fired. I don't think anyone's getting fired. I think Dave is going to be like, guys, what's going on? Up the security. That's about it. I do think it's crazy that someone as wealthy and powerful as Chappelle did not have adequate security at the Hollywood Bowl. The attacker, a member of the audience at the show, was detained by the venue's security team and later taken to the hospital with superficial injuries. I think his arm was dislocated. The LAPD said a video posted online of the alleged attacker appeared to be the unidentified man in a stretcher with his elbow bent at an odd angle. Neither Chappelle nor any officer was injured. BuzzFeed reporter Brianna Sachs also shared video showing the man being loaded into the ambulance. Sachs said before the attack, the comedian spoke about increased security around him in the wake of widespread backlash for jokes he made about the transgender community. There it is. Some Netflix employees in the fall staged a walkout in Hollywood to protest the company's decision to carry one of Chappelle's comedy specials, The Closer, which they said included transphobic remarks. Could this attack be that? Brianna Sachs shared a video showing, she said, before the attack, the comedian spoke about increased security. Could this attack have been in response to that statement by Dave Chappelle? A motive for the Tuesday night attack is not clear. Chappelle on Tuesday evening was performing his act at the Hollywood Bowl Amphitheater as part of the Netflix joke. The festival taking place from April 28th to May 8th. Other acts in the lineup included Leslie Jones, Jon Stewart, and Chris Rock, a comedian who also recently faced violence on stage when he was slapped by Will Smith. And we get it. Chris Rock comes out and says, "Was that Will Smith? Ha ha." So here's the clip where he comes out and says it. I think I can play it. Here we go. So they're running off. This is after the attack happened.
Was that Will Smith?
Oh, there you go. There you go. So was that Will Smith? So here, let's talk about the current state of politics, and let's talk about this country, right? This is the Joe Rogan subreddit. On this subreddit, people talk about Joe Rogan, but the subreddit's been completely dominated by talk of politics instead. People are arguing whether or not they should be having political discussions, particularly around Roe v. Wade, because of what's going on with the Supreme Court. The mods are like, dude, talk about Joe Rogan. So let me do this. Let me just pull up. How do you just load up the Joe Rogan podcast? I don't know. All right, there we go. I got it. I figured it out. New Reddit, not a fan. Take a look at this. And then I want to read some comments and talk about where we're at. Plus, I got that thread from Dankula talking about the guy's injuries. So we have, can we return to quality-ish posting on the sub? Then we have this. Can we please get a reply to this? Because it seems pretty glaringly obvious why this was done today, especially ironic when the very same mod is the one who has been posting culture war memes lately. Welcome to the culture war. Welcome to the civil war. Call it whatever you want. The end result, I think, is going to be people like Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle getting attacked. Now, as for Joe Rogan, if anybody who wants to rush the stage while Joe's doing a comedy routine doesn't know anything about Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan is massively ripped and a very well-trained martial artist and MMA commentator. Dude will one-shot you and send you flying back 20 feet. I'm being a little hyperbolic, but he'll probably, I'd imagine if someone rushed the stage, they wouldn't be able to get a hand on Joe in the way they did with Dave Chappelle. No disrespect to Dave Chappelle. He got taken by surprise. But I think Joe would drop the mic and probably do some kind of strike or grapple and put the guy down like that. I don't know if you've seen those videos of Joe Rogan showing off those like spin kicks or whatever. Please don't attack comedians, man. I feel like when Will Smith attacked Chris Rock, Joe Rogan commented on this being like, you can't do this. And I wonder if part of it is like, dude, Joe thinking that if a person went up to him like that, he'd seriously hurt him. People need to understand that about people who know how to fight. People who know how to fight and are good at it tend to not want to fight. Tend to. They try to avoid it because they know. You're not going to be some random person trying to put up fists and going after some dude who does MMA. They're going to be like, bro, you're going to get hurt, man. It's going to be bad for everybody. Going to have to deal with paperwork and legal challenge. Nah. Just don't do it. Don't do it. So what's basically been happening over the Joe Rogan subreddit is politics is taking over comedy. This has been happening for some time. I used to frequent the Joe Rogan subreddit amongst many other subreddits because there were conversations around the conversations that Joe Rogan was having. I thought that was really helpful. So if Joe has on somebody talking about some particular issue, it's interesting to see what people are saying, both for and against these issues. I think it's fantastic. But now we have this. Someone posted, yesterday, Ahmad was posting right-wing political memes on the 2nd of May. On the 3rd of May, after the conservative stacked Supreme Court directly attacks abortion law, now is when politics are off limit for the month of May and issuing temp bans for bringing it up. Do I have that right? Hasn't this entire effing sub been absolutely beside themselves about free speech this last month? But now is the time to clamp down on things? Effing pathetic. Here's what I find interesting. There was a response. I don't know if this is it, but I'm going to read this. The mod says, since this is directed at me, I will reply. Now, I want to just say this. This is not about drama in a subreddit. It's about our culture being taken over by the political conflict, which I believe can only result that it's dominoes falling over. You flick one domino. It's not a slippery slope. It is going to happen. Violence will occur. It's already been happening. We had riots yesterday. What I'm seeing here is that when you can't even listen to a podcast without arguing over Roe v. Wade, it's like, yo, we have been consumed by hatred. The mod says, since this is directed at me, I will reply. First, I am not an American. I barely know about Roe v. Wade. I am a pro-choice liberal who can still have a laugh at myself. Second, I have been modding this place for over 11 years. I don't care about the death threats in my chat window or the downvotes. My skin is thick. Nobody gets banned for being critical of me or of telling me to go F myself. Third, I know damn well the majority of people mad about this new rule don't listen to the Joe Rogan Experience or give an F about Rogan. You came here when you got banned by r/politics and the Donald got shut down. We have been testing the theory for the past 2 months and the evidence is crystal clear. You are taking advantage of our free speech policy to spew your nonsense back and forth. We know who the real fans are and what they want to see more or less of here, and we are responding to that. Fourth, you can still discuss any topic you want in the comments or the daily thread, including politics. We are just giving the users a break from the political posts. We do this before every big election, and these rules apply to the mods as well. Last, unsubscribe. The internet is a big place, and this is just a tiny corner of it. The response? We already have a reply from the mods, and it's FU, pretty simple, LMAO. I remember going to Joe Rogan subreddit and being confused because I was looking for a conversation on, I think it was Robert Malone, maybe. I was like, I'd like to see a conversation, or what are people thinking about the conversation had? And the reason is, I'm fascinated to see what regular people who watch Joe Rogan think about these political issues. When Joe had on me, for instance, and we talk about things, Joe went a little further than I did. That's why I think it's funny that people are like, I'm far right. I said, I think one of the reasons we see evidence in, Uttar Pradesh? Is that the name of the place? It's the place where all the people in India were taking ivermectin, and then COVID started to go down. And I said, I've actually heard a really great explanation for this outside of ivermectin. It's that as an anti-parasitic, it's curing people of parasites and then their immune system is strengthening. So you're seeing that trend in numbers, probably not directly per individual, but a trend in overall numbers. Joe disagreed. He said, no, I disagree. And I was like, okay. Joe called the media a cult. And I was like, wow. I was like, strong statements from Joe. I want to see what these conversations are about. But I went here and it was all like weird left politics stuff. Like, look at this. Here's a post on Joe Rogan. Will this hypocrisy last after Joe weighs in? I bet it does. And it's the mod, I guess. Free speech absolutist, censor Roe v. Wade politics. How do I continue this hypocrisy once Joe talks about it on air? So wait a minute. They're acknowledging Rogan did not talk about this yet, and they want to post memes about something unrelated to the Joe Rogan experience. This is what I find very strange. Now, here's one that makes sense. Old JRE fans, new JRE fans making fun of Brendan Schaub. Okay, I get that one. Here's one. The irony of the sub. It's the SpongeBob Patrick meme where it's like, this is Joe Rogan, right? Joe Rogan talks about politics, right? Yes. So we can discuss politics. No, politics is banned. What is being banned is when Joe says, yo, aliens, man. And then you're like, abortion. And Joe is like, I'm in favor of universal basic income. And they go, abortion, politics, Joe Biden, Democrats. I'll tell you what's happening. I noticed this a year ago. I went, when I was looking at this subreddit and many others, and I think I maybe even mentioned this to Joe. You look at his sub, and it's clearly being taken over by people for political reasons. And I think it has a lot to do with politics and the election. Joe Rogan is a space where regular people are being sent red pills. They're waking up to this stuff, man. Joe called the media a cult to, he said that to me. Wow. So regular people, I know a bunch of regular people. This is fascinating. I have good friends that are, LGBTQIA2, whatever, all that stuff. People I've known my whole life. When I posted a meme, or I guess it was a meme, I tweeted that a child in America is more likely to learn about tucking and binding than they would about how to start a business. It's an opinion, but it's based on the current state of politics having to do with what's happening in schools and this being mandatory curriculum in many states. What these schools don't teach is how to start a corporation, how to file for an LLC. They don't, but they do teach basic, LGBTQ stuff. And I've had friends who have been like, well, I want the representation and I don't care about starting a business. And I'm like, okay, you're not arguing my fact statement, I suppose. But these are the same people who watch Joe Rogan. Crazy. Like every time I go on Joe, these are people who hit me up and like, yo, that was really awesome. Congratulations. But then like I post a meme, they get mad at me and I'm like, these are people who are on the left and they watch Joe Rogan. And they probably don't agree with him on a lot of these things, but they're getting exposure to these ideas. It's a good thing. How do we take advantage of that? You go into the sub and you flood it with politics unrelated to what's actually going on. Here's one post. Came here looking for COVID misinformation and political talk, but all I see is that Dave Chappelle got tackled. That's a funny meme. Obviously, they're making a joke. The idea is the media smears Joe Rogan for this stuff. Oh, can I give a shout out to Vice, who published an article talking about how anarchists on the left are advocating people go to the vet to buy horse ulcer medicine to induce abortion. All right. Welcome to the modern era, I suppose. Me listening to the mods of this subreddit when someone lies to your face and you know the truth. Haha. Okay. So here's the point. They're making fun of the mod like crazy because the mod posts things that they deem are political. I don't know exactly what the mod was posting. Sure, fine, whatever. My issue is I have long seen the Joe Rogan subreddit be completely inundated with unrelated politics that were totally left-wing. And I thought it was really weird. I said, how is it that Joe could go on his show and say these like libertarian things, but then his fans supposedly are all on the opposite end of the political spectrum? Makes no sense. I don't buy it. Here's the point. Let's rewind. Dave Chappelle gets attacked. Obviously, the Joe Rogan Experience is talking about it. I knew they would be. Comedian got attacked. Bad thing. I don't know if it was political why Dave got attacked. Probably not. It could be. As Branna Sachs mentioned, Dave Chappelle was saying he needs more security because of the jokes he made about trans people. Yo, that's worrisome, dude. Get more security. Get more security than you already got. You can afford it, bro. Get more security. But politics has taken over everything. There's no more just video games. There's no more movies. There's no more comic books. There's no more stories. There's no more comedy. There's no more music. It's all political. All. And that's long been what the left has been saying. Going back to Gamergate, even before this, they say everything is political. I think it was like Will Wheaton or something, or one of the, who are those YouTube guys? The Green Brothers. So I think one of them said everything is political. Probably Will Wheaton. Everything's not supposed to be political. To a certain degree, I understand what they're saying, right? Star Trek: The Next Generation instilling values of classical liberalism. Okay, there's political values in there, and they don't like it. They want a show that's Marxist. They want their values instilled in their media. But I think that defies human nature. I think human nature is classically liberal. I really, really do. And what I mean by that is yearning for freedom, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, live and let live, and having some reasonable community restrictions. I think that's the natural state of humans. I think that's what humans tend towards. I think there are ideologues who try to push humans into authoritarianism to control them, but it never works. I think there are anarchists who think the system can be totally decentralized completely, and that doesn't work either. It's not within humans, I think, to live in this, utopian kind of ideal. What we have now is a decentralized system with strong nodes. A totally decentralized anarchic system I don't think works. But with nodes, we can see the merit allows certain ideas to rise to the top. Not without its risks. I think humans will eventually drive themselves off a cliff without some logical guidance. But that's what the nodes are for. So when one node fails because it has ridiculous ideas, other nodes succeed. When you centralize everything under one node and that fails, you're done. When you get rid of the node, it's chaos static like in a TV, and then you're done. I think the conflict is coming, and we can see it here because pop culture has become politics, period. There's going to be fighting. I hope not. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Seems like Dave's all right, so all right. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.